My name is a scientific experiment to figure out what people trust more, what they hear or what they see. And it goes like this. I meet somebody at a party and say, "Hi, my name is Peep Laja. Here's my card." They read the card and say, "Oh, Peep Laja. I just told you how to pronounce my name, but sure, since I have a weird name, it doesn't fit the mental model in their brain." And it's like, surely I misheard it, because it's obviously Peep on the card here. So I'm an optimizer. I run a lot of experiments in my life, in my business. I run a conversion optimization agency, and I help companies grow through conversion optimization. So how does conversion optimization fit into this growth thing, right? So maybe, where do I point? Maybe this is your growth curve. The circles are like years, and then there's revenue. So maybe that's, no hockey stick in sight, really. But what if we would be able to increase our conversion rate a modest 10% per year, leaving our ad spend, traffic, everything the same? What would our growth curve look like then? Like this. Well, what if it would it would be 15% per year? Oh my God, totally changes the thing. Well, had we started conversion optimization years ago, it would be like this. And for those of you who were around in 2009, you might be thinking, "Ha!" So, optimization is compound interest for growth. And of course, you have to have the product and the traffic and all that stuff, right? I'm not arguing. But conversion optimization, very important part, and we're going to go deep into it. So let's say you're going to go back to your office and bad news, you're all fired. But good news, some sucker just hired you. And your job is to optimize this website to increase the conversion rate 20% a year or more. Now the magic question is, how would you do it? Seriously, think about it. A website, maybe you've never seen it before. How would you optimize the website? And your answer will tell me everything about your conversion optimization know-how. Because if you start with, well, I'd change this and that and make this button bigger, I would know immediately that you're an amateur. Because amateurs focus on tactics, where professionals focus on processes. So if you're not thinking of conversion optimization as a process, you're doing it wrong. Well, what about best practices? Well, best practices, let's be honest, are really like common practices. Everybody's doing it, but it's not the best. And even if they are, some are better than others, it's where you start, not where you end up. So this is where we start, right? This is not optimization. Well, what about all these blog posts full of conversion optimization techniques and tactics? The most popular blog post ever written on conversion optimization says we have 100 plus tactics, proven tactics. So why don't we just use that? Somebody's already figured this shit out. Well, so should we implement all of those at once? I mean, your website will then look like a Christmas tree, or Link's cars if you've seen it. So, okay, we can't, implement all at once, because, some of them will work, some will not work. We don't know which is which. They cancel each other out or make things worse. That's what usually happens. Oh, testing. Let's test all these 100 tactics one by one and figure out what works. Brilliant, solved. Well, okay, so we run a test. So how long should an A/B test run? Right? Because significance is not validity. If you're stopping your A/B test once you achieve statistical significance, your tests are all bullshit. So you need, tests for multiple business cycles. You need to have representative sample size, all that stuff. So, for an average site, this would be like 4 weeks per test. So that means, this is Link's cars. So for an average website, it would take you, in order to test 100 tactics, 7.5 years. Ain't nobody got time like that. So we can't actually use a list of proven tactics because there's no way to prioritize it. Oh, I found this amazing checklist on a blog post. 91-point checklist. Just tick every box and maximum conversions achieved. No need to come to a conference like this. Well, we live in the real world. Unfortunately, like shit like that does not work. Oh, I heard Amazon's doing pretty well. Anybody else hear that? The conversion rate of Amazon Prime members is 74%. You know, what's your conversion rate? Maybe 5. So 15 times difference. So is the design of Amazon 15 times better than your design? Probably not. Is their copy 15 times better than your copy? Probably not. So, you know, it's idiotic to think that you can copy the leader of a market and expect to have their results, because it's a whole different thing that's going on here. And the same happens with copying your competitors, because they don't know what they're doing either. It's blind leading the blind. Oh, look at those guys. They have this new cool feature there. We should do that. They must have tested it. They probably didn't. Or if they ran the test, they ran it for 5 days and called it, because, you know, cognitive bias and all that stuff. Okay, so we can't do that. So we need a systematic approach to conversion optimization, because smart people have said decades ago that if you can't describe what you're doing as a process, you don't know what you are doing. Okay, conversion optimization, we need to have a process. So what is the goal here? So what are we actually doing, you know, besides increasing revenue per visitor and all that stuff? The most important thing is the discovery of what matters. If we know what matters to our users, we can prioritize and work on the right stuff. If we know what parts of our website work, we don't have to ask stupid questions like, what should we test next? If in your businesses, you asking the question, what should we test next? Obviously, you don't know what you're doing. And you have to change everything and actually learn what you're doing. So the discovery of what matters. But how do we discover what matters? All right, so there are 2 ways to do it. One is testing. We test something, run a test, there's an outcome, we learn something. All right, but again, if it's like this 100 tactics or a random idea that Joe suggested from marketing, I mean, we're no way of prioritizing, because how do we measure the success of our testing program? 3 things. 1, the number of tests run, so that our execution velocity. Number 2, the percentage of winning tests. If you're testing random crap that makes no difference, this percentage is going to be very small. No button testing, please. And 3, impact per successful experiment. So those are the numbers that you optimize for. And in order for us to have more winning tests and bigger impact per experiment, we need to run better tests. We need to know what matters. And that's where research comes in. Okay, we do research. And with research, we gather a bunch of data. But you don't want to be like this douchebag. You know, let's be honest. Most of us don't need more data. We need better data. More data leads to analysis paralysis. Better data, and better, by better I mean data that we can actually do something with. You know, that's the kind of data you need. And I mean, so what is the right amount of data? Let's say I'm crossing the road and I have the perfect data in the world. The air humidity, angle of the sun rays, eye color of the person standing next to me, etc. But the data that actually matters is there a car coming and how fast, right? The other stuff is just noise. Same with your business. We need to figure out what's the actual data that we need to know. And you know, the whole notion about being data-driven, I mean, it's a misnomer. There is no such thing. It's all people-driven. We, human beings, are interpreting the data, pulling insights out of the data, making sense of the data. Data is just there. It's not like you go to Google Analytics and, hey, let's see what the data says. Data doesn't tell you shit. So before that, we need to figure out what is it that we want to know. So that means that we have to start by asking questions. What is it that we want to know? And then we can go and gather data that gives us the answers. And suddenly we end up with data that makes sense, that we can actually do something with. So what these questions are, it could be one of these questions, and it's probably not one of these questions, or some of them are, because it's highly contextual. It depends on your business model, you know, your vertical, blah, blah, blah. But you need to figure out what those questions are. And it's also very important to keep in mind that we are biased human beings. If we torture data long enough, it will confess to anything. If we want to make the data say something, we can definitely do that. So have to be aware of that, and it's important to work in teams so other people can call you bullshit. Very important. All right, so right amount of data. So how to go about that? So there's this model that I developed, and I've been using this for a number of years now with a variety of my clients. So this is industry agnostic model for gathering, let's say, manageable amount of data that actually gives us insights to optimize our conversion rate. So the purpose of this model is to improve conversion rate. And the goal, what this model does is that it will tell us what matters and what the actual problems are with our website. It doesn't tackle the creative stuff and all that. It's all very important. But so we want to figure out what the problems are. I'm going to go briefly over this model to explain. So first thing, you think your developers are magicians, but they're not. They make mistakes, and they probably ignored all the Internet Explorer compatibility stuff. I see on a daily basis millions of dollars going to waste because the conversion rate for Internet Explorer 8, 9, 10 is half of like 11 or Firefox or whatever, not to mention Safari. Or every designer has these huge-ass 27-inch screens. They never even looked what their website looks like on an 11-inch thing. Yeah, so your stuff is broken. You can have the most persuasive copy in the world, but it doesn't matter if the site doesn't work on the specific browser and device that I'm on, right? So you have to figure out which pages are slow, what doesn't work, where the UX is bad, blah, blah, blah. The first thing. Second step is that we have to walk through our own site. And it's shocking how little people do that. You walk through your own site, and you assess each of these screens on your website against a set of heuristics. We look for relevancy. Does this meet my expectation? Is this tied to the ad I clicked or the email that was sent to me and I clicked like some button or link there? Clarity. Do I understand what is being communicated to me? Do I understand what to do? Is it business jargon, or is it actually talking to a human being? Motivation. Every page on your website should have one specific primary goal. We want people to do X on this page, primary goal. So we can assess the page by assessing what are we doing here to increase user motivation to take this particular action. Because we can't just assume that they want to do it. Or friction, what's slowing people down, what's here that doesn't want them, stops them from taking action. And the whole outcome of this is identifying areas of interest. This is not the truth. This is areas of interest. We have assessed the pages, and now we can go out and gather qualitative and quantitative data to figure out whether our ideas actually are good. So essentially, we're answering the question, what's wrong with this picture by looking at every page on a website. Okay, so once we do that, we have a list of questions, list of issues, list of problems that we think our site might have. It's time to move on and figure out digital analytics. And, it doesn't matter which analytics tool you use, but most important things here are to figure out where is the money leaking out the most. Every page on your website leaks money, customers dropping out every step. Where is the biggest problem? Because you want to start fixing the biggest leak in your bucket. And also, people can do all sorts of things on your website. Are you measuring everything, and can you then look at the data that says, oh, people who interacted with these widgets are now more likely or less likely to convert? Oh, if they're more likely to convert, can we get more people to use this feature or functionality? So we have to make sure that we are measuring all these actions. And we really need to know what we are doing and which segments are really working and which are not. And about measuring everything, if you are not measuring every possible action that people are doing, you're blind when you don't need to be. It is really stupid. So make sure, I'm assuming that you guys are using some sort of a tag manager, really amazing stuff. Or if you are lazy and your developers are lazy, use heap analytics. Heap Analytics auto-records every possible event happening on your website. Mind-blowing stuff. All right. So mouse tracking, these are like heat maps, click maps, not so useful. But what is useful is the scroll depth, and you can, of course, figure that out in analytics as well. The scroll depth, how far down people scroll. The question, is my page too long? Well, take a look at the scroll map, figure it out. And very important, session replays. So I had a client, a resume building flow. Step 3 in the resume building flow, massive amounts of drop-ups. What's happening? It's like form, like put stuff in. So we start watching these videos of people using this page. Tools like Hotjar, ClickTale, stuff like that. And when we noticed was that people get to the question that asks for references. 3 references mandatory. And that's where they dropped out. They didn't have them. We told the client, hey, this is the problem. We don't need the references. Problem solved, growth. So very insightful stuff. And qualitative research. The quantitative is good because quantitative tells us what is happening and where is it happening, but we don't know why. And qualitative now will tell us why. So it's very, very important that we figure out what the users are actually experiencing in their mind, how they would like to buy the kind of products we serve, how are they making purchasing decisions. If we don't know how they're making purchasing decisions, then how can we optimize that, right? We can't. So we need to poll our website visitors, like let's say you're an e-commerce. On the product page, ask them, hey, what's holding you back from buying this product right now? And you'll get like 2 to 4% response rate. And over time, it will be enough sample size to have insights there. Or what we've been already talking about here, serving people who've just bought something, who still freshly remember their purchasing experience, to ask about the friction they experienced in their mind. What was the one thing that nearly stopped you from buying or signing up? Very insightful stuff there. And once you understand the friction inside the people's head, then you can minimize the friction. And you don't need to ask, what should we test next? And of course, user testing, what parts are difficult. Obviously, you're all doing it, right? All right. And once you go through this simple process that takes about a month, you don't have the question anymore of what should we test next. You know all these problems. On the average amount of issues that I identify using this process is like between 50 and 150. And then this is our testing roadmap now. Once we've depleted all the ideas, you repeat the process. And of course, you need to, you need to categorize all these findings. So some of the stuff is like obvious problem, just test it. Some things might be obvious, just fix it. The slide's somehow broken, I don't know. Some issues that you identify have no obvious solution. You need to brainstorm with your team, so you categorize them as hypothesize. And you prioritize each finding based on the severity of the issue and how many people exposed it. So you end up with a spreadsheet, kind of like this. So what's the issue? What's the category of the issue? Why is this an issue? What should we do about it? Priority. And you can assign responsible people for it and use whatever tool you want to manage this. Again, we don't need to ask, what should we test next? We know. And we are solving actual problems users have or what data tells us based on the questions we asked. So you see, this way conversion optimization becomes a systematic, repeatable, teachable process. You hire new people. It's not like, can you figure out how to improve conversion? This is the process. Follow this process. Learn it. And a couple of more things. Well, now it's where tactics come in place. Let's say that in our qualitative survey, we figured out that our offering is so complex. Let's experiment with live chat. Because we identified a problem, let's see if live chat is a good solution for it. Or people say that, those clothing items you're selling on the store, I wish I could imagine what it would look on me. Let's put clothes on models. Or they're saying, I can't figure out really what your startup looks like, so I don't want to sign up for this stuff. Let's put more and better screenshots. You see, we know the problem first, and now we apply the tactic we want to go for. So 6-step process, we do the research, we develop hypotheses out of the identified issues, create treatments, run treatments, analyze results, and over again. Never-ending process, really. And of course, let's say the data tells us that our checkout page is the problem. People are feeling anxious about giving you the credit card data. They feel it's not safe. So the question is, how many possible ways are there to increase the perception of security on a checkout page? Infinite amount. So if you just test one version against control to improve the perception of security, what are the odds that you nail it? Very limited. Even if your treatment wins by whatever percentage, there are like 10 better ideas out there that you didn't test. So you need to do iterative testing. Test as many variations against control as your traffic allows. So here's a site we worked on. E-commerce selling allergy relief products. And based on the research, we built this feature there, a widget called Find Relief From, because in our qualitative research, we found out when people come to an allergy relief website, the question in their mind is, which product relieves my particular allergy that I have? So we built this widget. The question we had was, is anybody using this widget? And if they are, what is the impact on their purchasing behavior? And we graded set up some segments, and we figured out the people who used that feature, about 10% of the traffic, were 4 times more likely to make a purchase. Wow, 4 times more likely, crazy stuff. So what if we could get more people to use this feature? Would our sales go up? Well, let's see. So we ran a test where we made that thing orange, to increase the visual, its position in visual hierarchy. Ran a test, and all kinds of bad stuff happened. So why? Ooh, is our hypothesis wrong? Should we test something else? No. Let's see what happens. Let's analyze the results. And what we figured out was that actually the percentage of people using this feature did not change at all. And the conversion rate for those people also did not change. It's only the people who did not use it, we can never know why something did not work or why it worked. Ultimately, we're always guessing. So my best guess is that it was just annoying to have that orange thing there. It's a distraction. So we created 2 new variations. So Find Relief From, like the list like this, or list like this, and this one ended up winning. Now the site looks like this, and you always keep on iterating because you don't know which specific treatment will win. So the thing to remember about conversion optimization, this is hard work. It's not the testing, the sexy part. It's just the tip of the iceberg. All the hard work of data crunching, sometimes soul-crushing work. That's where the magic lies. And then, of course, secret of success is doing stuff that other people are not willing to do for a long period of time. Your competitors are probably not busting their asses figuring this stuff out. But if you are, great things happen. This guy's an 8-time Mr. Olympia bodybuilder. And he said, everybody wants to be a bodybuilder, but nobody wants to lift no heavy-ass shit. So it's the same with conversion optimization. Everybody wants to lift, but nobody wants to do the heavy-ass conversion research. So 5 things to remember. It's about the process, not tactics. Discovery of what matters is most important. Start with questions first, then seek the data to answer these questions. Iterative testing for the win, and do the heavy-ass lifting. And I wrote a book about this stuff where I actually tell you how to do this stuff. You can have it free if you send me an email. I'll send you a PDF copy of my book, first name at ConversionXL.com, which is also a conversion optimization blog. Thank you so much.